Now, with that same sheet that we use with the student grades, we want to create this thing called a pivot table. And a pivot table gives us this more numerical view. So conditional formatting is color-coded. Pivot table is just all the data together, focusing on grades and overall year-long averages of each student. Okay, so when I go up to my menu here, I have File, Edit, and if you click on one, then as you hover over, each one will expand. So for a pivot table is something that you're doing with the data, okay? Because it's data, it's going to live under the data menu. So you go to Data, followed by Pivot Table. I like to make my pivot tables in a new sheet because it keeps it separate. So I'm going to say Create New Sheet and click Create. All right, now it's all about setting up the pivot table. So I'll show you what the different parts of the editor do. So first off, with rows, you want to add the student name. Then what you'll notice is over here in the A column, the student name appears there. For values, you're going to add the year-end average of each of the 4 years and the final average. So how you do that is click on Add, Year 1 average, add, Year 2 average, add, Year 3 average, add, Year 4 average, and then, so as you can see right here, sum of year 1, sum of year 2, so on and so forth. And then the last thing that we're going to add for the value is the final average. Then for the filter, what you're going to do is you're going to add a filter, and you're going to filter the final grade so that instead of showing all of the items like it's showing right now, you're going to clear that and only show the Fs. So what the pivot table does is the editor allows you to choose what criteria you're looking for so that instead of going on the main sheet and scrolling through all of your students, the pivot table encapsulates all of that information on its own sheet. So right here, you can see that you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 students all together that have an F as their final grade for your course. You could also change this if you wanted to. And if I click clear and change that to an A, alternatively, I can see how many of and who in my class earned an A as their final average. So this is how you set up the pivot table. This is what the pivot table shows. And I hope you've learned something new.